threat from Governor Rick Scott to cut funds to ports that do business with Cuba shut down one potential agreement with Port Everglades. The port received a Cuban delegation today, but failed to sign a deal for future endeavors. Our own Leanne Morejon is live now to explain the details. Leanne.
And Laura, we do know from the port director that he said the goal for this panel that the Cuban delegation hosted today was more informational than anything for business leaders here in the area to learn more about what it's like to do business. But just a couple of hours before this panel was set to begin, the announcement that that agreement would not be signed was made.
American companies can actually have possibilities in this regard.
As a Cuban delegation discussed how to do business on the island, port officials called off a plan to sign a so-called Memorandum of Understanding with Cuba's port administration.
It wasn't signed to allow everybody to get more facts together. At some point in the future, we'll see what transpires.
This comes one day after Governor Rick Scott said he would recommend restricting state funds for ports that work with Cuba in his budget, a direct response to visits by Cuban officials to Port Everglades today and visits to other ports in the coming days.
What I don't believe in is our ports doing business with a ruthless dictator.
On Tuesday, a shipment of charcoal arrived in Fort Lauderdale from Cuba, the first export of its kind in 50 years. Governor Rick Scott would have to ask lawmakers to cut money for ports, but the Port Everglades director and those doing business at the ports say, as of now, this changes nothing.
As long as both federal governments agree that what we're doing is correct, then we feel comfortable in doing it.
The governor has injected himself into State Department business, and I don't know why.
Trade is a big part of the world that we live in today, and a seaport is just a natural facilitator of the movement of that trade.
And we also know that port officials in Palm Beach were set to sign a similar agreement with a Cuban port delegation, but they also decided to cancel those plans. Live at Port Everglades, Leanne Morejon, Local 10 News.